Hi guys, good morning. Today is Martin Luther King Day, January 20th, 2025. Hi Ruthie! You made it, Ruthie. Thank you. Thank you, Ruthie. Hi Betty. Hi Irma. I was a few minutes late. Sorry guys. It's a snow day here in New York and I canceled my work day last night. So you'd think that I would have a day off. I'd be more organized, but I was less organized this morning, running around to the last minute. Thank you for joining me. It's so peaceful to look out at the snow outside, blanketing everything. And I think it's a good omen for what's to come. I mean, from the clips that I have seen, the winning is about to commence. A massive amount of winning and winning and winning, and we'll never get tired of winning. Hi, Sydney. I mean, the whole energy has shifted. Rose had sent me a picture of the Schumann resonance from last night. I mean, we're off the charts, guys. We're off the charts for energy on the planet. It is rising and rising. And Rabbi Gozlan even spoke about this, that he said that we're going to go from Midas Harachamim to Midas Hadin, which means that the lapse time between thought and manifestation is getting smaller and smaller. So you have to really groom your thoughts, think only good, and watch it manifest quickly. And I'm seeing that in my life like crazy. Like crazy. Hi, Chase. Hi, family. Hi, family. What do I want to start off by saying first? First, I want to thank you guys for sticking with me on this crazy journey these past 4 years. Oh, wow. It's been an amazing adventure to discover more and more truth. I did an interview with Malachi yesterday, and he said something so fabulous. I posted a clip everywhere that I could. That he said that he was a conspiracy theorist for a while also, and he found that at the end of every conspiracy theory, at the end of the rabbit hole, it always led back to the Bible, the Torah, and the Jews. And he's like, why am I wasting my time with conspiracy theories when I can be with these magical people? He said. I just love that. I just love that. That lit me up when he said that. Because it's true. Any of us in this community know that everything circles back to the Jewish people. We're at the heart of the story. We're in smack in the middle of the greatest story Hashem ever told. And the Jewish people, who we've come to learn from Rabbeinu YIRAH, carry the light. And the light is the 22 letters, as simple as that. And only the Mashiach, and with great toil, can retrieve the inner meaning of these letters and illuminate them for us in our mind and lift us out of the confusion. Ooh, that'll be nice. My biggest bracha, my biggest prayer is that may we see clarity descend on the collective mind of humanity, and may we be taken out of the confusion of the mind by the Hebrew letters. And let that be soon, and let it be enjoyable, pleasurable. We've made it to the finish line. The thing about meeting YIRAH and Rose, gosh, they made everything feel real. Everything in the Torah feel real. I'm like, Moshe Rabbeinu is in a body again. That eternal soul of Atzilus. He's not from here. How hard for him must it be to live in a world where he can only converse on the level he really wants to converse with Hashem? He dumbs it down for each person he meets. I saw him talk to the man behind the counter at the video store. I mean, he knows how to tailor his conversation to each individual he's talking to and assess their level and meet them there. But truly, if he wants to have a heart to heart on the level where he's at, it's just him and Hashem. And that's an amazing realization to have. But after meeting them, the Torah became alive to me in this whole new way. Wow. I'm like, the Torah is real, Hashem is real, I'm real, we're all real. Hyper real, ultra real. Like everything in the Torah is like is real. I have no better word. If you guys could think of a better word, it's all just so real. I mean, if we could meet Moshe Rabbeinu incarnated, and he's a guy and he's a person, it's just all real. The Moshe of the Torah, it goes back and reconfirms that the Moshe of the Torah was real also, with fingers and toes, you know? Mm. It's such a gift to live inside that reality where Torah comes to life. And Rabbeinu YIRAH released a video yesterday that lit me up also. He released a few videos that lit me up. Yesterday he was on fire. I would for sure take the time. It's two 20-minute videos. One is about Adam, Chava, and the baby of Samael. And the other one is called World Peace Part 2. This story, the real story of Lilith. Remember, you guys, I went through my Lilith phase. Remember at the eclipse? I had a whole Lilith phase. And in my heart, I always understood she was good. And he came to explain how she is good. But as she descends into the Klippa, we could only view her as evil. Ooh, what a concept. And he explains in that video about mitochondria and DNA. And if you're smart, you can hear him explaining about the thing in the arm also. If you listen real closely, you'll hear him explaining. And he gives us the true origin, the archetype of Lilith as related to the Tzimtzum, the circular aspect of the Tzimtzum, the mitochondrial Eve. I mean, it's just mind-blowing. If you take the time to sit with it and understand it and process it, your mind will be blown to pieces. And then the other video that he released earlier in the day called Adam and Eve and the baby of the Samach Mem. I got some feedback from people saying, you know, why release this information? Like, how is this helping anybody? I was like, how is this helping anybody? This is the truth. This is the truth. No matter how gruesome it is, I want it. Tell me the truth, Hashem. Tell me the truth of the Torah. Even if it's gruesome, I don't care. That's what this past 4 years has been about. The medical establishment was never there for your good. Educational system was never there for your good. The government was never there for your good. Tell me the truth. Tell me about adrenochrome. Tell me about how they harvested adrenaline while they tortured babies. Tell me about that, because it's the truth. And even if it's horrible, you're not going to get anywhere if you keep covering it up. We're not going to get to clarity or MS if we don't know the truth, if we keep living inside the fairy tale. Oh gosh, the biggest fairy tale buster for me was when I first realized that YIRAH was the Raya Mahemana, the Melech HaMashiach. And I was like, damn, I got to get up and go to work the next day. I'm like, it's not like he came in from the sky and saved us all. It's not like that. That's Mochen Katniss. That's our immature fantasy of Mashiach, that he's going to rescue us all. The only person who can rescue you is yourself. Mashiach himself is toiling 10 years more, 10 plus years, toiling, living in poverty, just to produce vessels to contain the light of Atzilus, the Sfarim, the Tikkunim, the Ilanot. What do you think those are? Those are vessels in this world, in this realm, to contain the light he's trying to reattach us to. Yeah, so that was a rough one to realize that it's gonna take the work of all the people of humanity together to get the light out. One man cannot do it himself. It's all hands on deck. Imagine all of us working together to disseminate the teachings of Aleph Memshin. Do one thing a day to spread his teaching. One thing, one click. How easy is that? But if you want your Ibur, you have to toil in his teaching. He toiled to produce them. The least we could do is toil to try to understand them. And the reward for that on the other side, we can't even fathom. We can't even fathom. Thank you, Zeke. Hi, Hiroko. Love you too. So, when I had my story where I asked Hashem to give me a sign before going public, making a declaration in Rosh Hashanah, what I knew in my heart to be true about Rabbi YIRAH, that he is the Melech HaMashiach on the planet right now. We found him. I'm always amazed that people aren't just curious, they're immediately resistant. They're not curious. And I think it's part of that same Mochen Katniss where they want Mashiach to remain a fairy tale, because if it means they have to do work, they don't want part of it. If it means that it's not going to be immediate salvation with chariots descending from the sky, they don't want to be part of it. I think that's what it is. I don't know what that resistance is when people immediately come at me, or just, it's like when you told them about anything, like in the Great Awakening, and they just get this, it's called a fluoride stare, where they're like they go blank. And you wonder where their neshama just went when you're trying to tell them something so enormous. It's the cognitive dissonance. It's too much to have longed for Mashiach for thousands of years, and then to hear we might have actually found him on the West Coast. It's too far of a divide for people to leap over. Yeah, Irma said they're afraid of knowing the true Mashiach. Yeah, it's true. It's such a fascinating phenomenon, right, Irma? It's fascinating. Yeah, I'm not sure, Michael. I don't know if that's what it is, but I don't know why people either ignore it. It's funny because I posted a picture of my most recent simcha where my son got engaged, and like all of a sudden, like 200 people come out of the woodwork to wish me mazel tov. And like, are these people the ones watching my videos and not saying one word to me about anything, not addressing the conversation? It's so interesting. It's so interesting. Anyway, so my sign from Hashem, when I asked Hashem, like, Hashem, if I'm going to go public and say what I think is going on, I need a clear sign from you. And then I'm like, I need Rabbi Daniel Glatstein to drive past me today. And he drove past me that day. And I was like, all right, Hashem, we're doing this. And I called a few people that day, and one of them was Ani. And Ani, I called very selective, like 3 or 4 people, just to tell them, just to bear witness to my story that day. And Ani gave such a great answer. She told me, and I found out when I was reviewing it with her yesterday, I found out she had just read it that morning. What did she read? She read that events of hashgacha pratis, of divine orchestration, exquisite divine orchestration, like asking for someone to drive past you that day, a stranger that you never met before, and they drive past you and you notice it, comes from only one place. What place does it come from? She told me she read, I forgot the book, maybe she could tell me again later, but she said she had read in a sefer that morning that kind of hashgacha pratit only comes from the Ein Sof. And since then, I have developed a greater understanding and context for what the Ein Sof is, for what is the Ein Sof, where is the Ein Sof, and that's what we're going to discuss today. And even more so, there's a concept called a name pasuk, where the beginning of the pasuk is the first letter of your name, and the last letter of the pasuk, the verse is the last letter of your name, and it's called your name pasuk, and it's in a lot of sidurim, it's in a lot of prayer books. So my name pasuk is Gol al Hashem darkecha uvetachala v'hu yaseh. Reveal on Hashem your ways and trust him, v'hu yaseh, and he will take care of it. And I've always taken that as a lesson for me, because I like to do, I'm a doer, do. And Hashem's like, stop, I got this. But just reveal to me, Gol al Hashem, reveal it to me and trust me. And then sit back and watch how I will do it. You don't have to do it. So that's where my work has been. And I think I've gotten better, much better at that. But the wording of it always confounded me. Gol al Hashem, shouldn't it be El Hashem or Le Hashem? It doesn't make sense. Reveal on Hashem, al Hashem, doesn't make sense to me. And then the next pasuk after my name pasuk is Behesanag al Hashem v'yiten lecha mishalo sibecha. And put your delight on Hashem, and he will give you the pleasures of your heart. Again, the strange wording of on Hashem never made sense to me. I always held it as a question in the back of my mind. Hi, Des. So I finally have my answer. If you hold a question long enough, Hashem will give you the answer. And I got it from YIRAH. And that's what today's class is about. I'm going to be reading a few more pages in order of emanation. They're very dense, so I just want to bite off a little bit of it at a time. And when you read with me today, you'll have the answer to that question as well. The title of my class is Will the Real Hashem Please Stand Up? It's like the real Slim Shady. Please stand up. Please stand up. Yeah, he is full of wise answers. So after learning and immersing myself in the teachings of Rabbeinu YIRAH, I've come to understand, and this is a big one, that it is not heresy to understand that each level, each dimension of reality, higher, has a different iteration of Hashem, different manifestation of Hashem, a different name of Hashem. That's why it says, Bayomahu yihi Hashem echad u'shemo echad. Because as the dimensions will condense and collapse, all these names will merge into one in our mind, in our consciousness. But the name above all names, the name that clothes itself in Keter, at the top of the tree, the formless name of Hashem, is called Ein Sof. And in the Tanya, the Baal Tanya told us, the first Lubavitcher Rebbe told us, because what he called Hashem in that Sefer was Ein Sof. And Hashgacha Pratis comes from the Ein Sof. The divine, exquisite coordination of your life, of my life, every detail, can only come from the highest realm of Hashem, himself doing it, the fabric of reality. And when I first started understanding this concept, I was like, get out of the way. All these other Hashems, move out of my way. I only want to talk to the Ein Sof. I only want you, Ein Sof. Only want you, Ein Sof. And me and Ani were practicing yesterday in text. We were like, okay, there's Baruch Ein Sof. Oh gosh, Ezra's Ein Sof. There's like, we're going to have to really get used to saying Ein Sof instead of a Kadosh Baruch Hu. Because the Yud K Vav K name, as I have come to learn from Rabbeinu, is the name of Zeranpin, of that realm. And I don't want to talk to that one anymore. I want to talk to the Ein Sof. I want to connect my heart to the Ein Sof. I no longer need Hashem in a form that I can perceive. I'm all right with the endless. And that's a mochen godless to get to. I remember wanting Hashem to be a person that I could hug. And now I just want him to be an energy that I can interact with. Okay, let's go inside the text. Okay, let's pick up on page 4 at the bottom where we had left off. For those of you who printed it out, have it on hand. The light of the endless, the light of the Ein Sof, entered the supernal mind. Okay, so picture the light of the endless, like surrounding everything, the backdrop of everything. It entered in the supernal mind. How did it enter? Via the 22 letters, which are the word and illumination, the mind descending and arousing thought. And so the word is the illumination of the mind and the illumination of thought. So the 22 letters are this illumination. And it is only Mashiach that can bring that kind of illumination back to us from the Ein Sof, because he is the only soul from that height. He is the only soul rooted in that realm. The divine form was the man, and it is written man is a tree. And this man entered in the secret of the 22 letters, which are the roots of the supernal image of the man, before it became the tree. That is to say, before the interconnecting paths united the spheros, each existed as a unique attribute of the supernal form, being disconnected and not united, which is the opposite of unity. They expressed the unknowable wisdom, understanding, knowledge, love, might, beauty, splendor, emotion, foundation, and kingship of God, which are God's attributes. And these are the form of both man and tree. Which makes me wonder, in this realm down here, what is the iteration of Hashem down here in Olam Ha'asiyah? If Hashem has an iteration in every dimension, and I think it might be us. For the man was bound to the tree. So man and tree are the same. And so the psalmist says, God stands in the congregation of the mighty. He judges among the gods. Is that verse coming to teach us that? Pinchas, page 5, Pinchas, verse 864. Similarly, the letters Yud He Vav allude to the faces of the living creatures, lion, ox, and eagle, are tripled thus: Yud He Vav Yud, and Vav He Yud. He is a fourth for them and is the secret of, they thrice ascribe holiness to you. Kedusha l'cha yishaleshu. As above, it is the peace offering, the shlamim, all of them, for in all of them it completes them, mamshelet. In them, all the name of Yud He Vav He, but neither names nor letters must be tripled for the master of all. As Hashem is called by all the names, and he has no one specific name. And every single name testifies about him, that he is the master of the world. Adon Kol Almin. And the name Adonai testifies about him. And we live in the realm of Adonai. Asiya is that name. Pinchas, verse 865. And there is a person who inherits 310 worlds, as it is written, that I may cause those that love me to inherit substance. Yesh, 310 in Gematria, Mishlei 821. This is according to the level of Chachma that is called Yesh Me Ayin, substance from the Ein. We're decoding now. For Keter is called Ein, and Chachma is called Yesh. And this is upper Chachma, and there is also the person who only inherits one world, according to his level as has been taught. Each and every righteous man has a world for himself. Likewise, every person in Israel inherits a world according to his level on high. But there is no recording of a world for the master of the universe, for he is the master of all worlds, as the name Adonai testifies about him. Pinchas, verse 866. Likewise, with the name Yud He Vav He, on which all existences depend, and he and all his existences testify about the master of the universe, that he pre-existed all existences, and that he is within every existence, and that he will be after all existences. And this is the secret of the beings that testify about him, that he was, is, and will be. Hayahoveh v'yihiyeh. And the imagery that helped me, that I heard from Rabbeinu, is that every iteration of Hashem looks up to testify about the ultimate, the Ein Sof aspect of Hashem. They're all here to testify about the Ein Sof. And I just remembered something else, that in the future, the Yud Ke Vav Ke name, the Vav will turn into a Yud. Yud He, when Zeir Anpin gets rectified. Pinchas, verse 867. Dina, the word Dina, meaning judgment, is composed of the letters Adonai rearranged. And for this reason, our teachers of blessed memory said, the law of the government is the law, Dina de Malchusa Dina. The name El testifies about the master of all, the Ein Sof, that no name, Yud He Vav He, grade, and certainly none of the other creatures has any ability apart from him. And this is as it is written, and all the inhabitants of the earth are reputed as nothing. And he does according to his will in the host of heaven, Daniel 4:32. Elohim testifies to his divinity, that he is the Elohim, Hashem hu ha-Elohim, and the Elohim of Elohim, and he is Eloha over all, and there is no Eloha above him. Tzvaot testifies about him too, as it is written, he does according to his will in the host of heaven. Shaddai testifies about him, when he said to the world, enough, die, Shaddai, the world stopped within its limits and didn't expand anymore. Likewise to the water, wind, and fire, he said, enough, And here we have Rabbeinu YIRAH's writing. After he quotes all of that Zohar, it goes back to him. And so they emerged alongside the perfect word, being the distinguished attributes of God. And these are their names, and each a unique attribute which was distinguished and separate from every other attribute, being complete God by the power of his attributed, yet none containing the all. And so they emerged, the first, which is named Yud-Hey, being the wisdom of God, the second Eheyeh, being the understanding of God, the third being Hashem Elohim, being the knowledge of God, the fourth being El, the love of God, the fifth being Elohim, the might of God, the sixth being Yud-Kei Vav-Kei, the beauty of God, the seventh is Yud-Kei Vav-Kei Tzvaot, the splendor of God, the eighth is Elohim Tzvaot, being the emotions of God, and the ninth being El Shaddai, the foundation of God, the 10th being Adonai, the kingship of God, the highest being the unknowable aspect of God called Keter. And Keter is the Levush, as we said. Keter is the crown for the king of all, the Ein Sof, and surrounds all things and having all things within himself. Their friends became astonished and proclaimed, how can you say there's something outside of Yud-Kei Vav-Kei? Is it not written, Ani Yud-Kei Vav-Kei ein od milvado, there's nothing beside me? Indeed, it's a play on words. Indeed, there is nothing, ein, beside him. Listen to that again. Ein od milvado. Indeed, there is ein beside me. Says Yud-Kei Vav-Kei. Yud-Kei Vav-Kei is saying, look above me. There is ein. And this is the concealed one I have whispered to you about. Though your mind be clouded in darkness and having not the light of the sun, which is the word, the 22 letters from the Mashiach, being the illumination of mind and thought within you, so that like the foolish one, you are agitated in ignorance. For behold, it is written, you will find wisdom in ein. V'hachachma me'ayin timatzeh. Eov, Job 28:12. Or ein surrounds the mind, which is wisdom, and is held within the ein. And I was just reviewing this with Rabbeinu last night on the phone to make sure I got it right, and he was telling me it's like an artist who does his work on paper, and the ein is like the paper, and everything that's written are all the different iterations. But the backdrop, the canvas to all of creation is the Ein Sof. Page 7. And in their ignorance, and in their error proclaimed, Hayesh, Hashem b'kirbeinu im ein. Exodus 17:7. Is there Yud-Kei Vav-Kei in our midst, or is it ein? Which one is it? Will the real Slim Shady please stand up? And again, a song of ascent, as I lift my eyes to the mountains. And we all know this one. Esa einai el haharim. Psalm 121:1. Esa einai el haharim. What's the next word, you guys? What is it, Irma? You all know it. Me'ayin yavo ezri. My help comes from the ein. The hashgacha pratis that we so desperately need. The guidance in our life comes from the ein. And again, my help comes from that which is with Yud-Kei Vav-Kei. Me'ayin yavo ezri. Ezri me'im Hashem. Ezri, my help, me'im, comes from that which is with Hashem, which is the ein. And again, and he was there with Yud-Kei Vav-Kei. Exodus 34:28. Vayehi sham im yud ke vav ke arba'im yom. And this hidden one, called he, who, in Hebrew, he is who, it's confusing if you don't know Hebrew, but he is translated into Hebrew as who, is who I have spoken to you about. Yet you have not understood. Behold, who, the Hebrew word who, meaning he, is your glory. And he, who, is your God. Deuteronomy 10:21, hu tehilasecha v'hu Elohecha. Who meaning the hidden one, who meaning the Ein Sof. Here also, for who is our God. Ki hu Eloheinu, yanachnu am mariso. The Ein Sof is our Eloheinu, and we are his flock. Psalms 95:7. Now you shall understand the verse in Deuteronomy. Look now, for I am him, Anihu. The prologue in Zohar, verse 7 says, in the beginning, Bereshis, Rabbi Elazar began the discussion by quoting, lift up your eyes on high, and behold who has created these. Yeshaya 40:26, he asks, lift up your eyes on high, to what place? And he replies, to that place which all eyes are turned. Every dimension turns their eyes up, up, up. And who is he that created these things? He is the opening of the eyes. And there you shall know that this concealed atikah, to which the question can be applied, he's the only one that can answer the question, who created these? And who is he? Literally who, which is formed from the two Hebrew letters mem and yud, me, that appeared in the name Elohim, the lower seventh spirit of Bina. He is called from the end of heaven on high, as everything is in his domain. And since one can ask about him, we can ask about Bina. We can ask about that realm because it is a seen and it is a knowable realm. And he is concealed and not revealed. He is called who, which is an interrogative article, because beyond him, beyond me, beyond the level of Bina, one may not pose questions. To the endless, it is unknowable. That's why Hashem clothed himself in the tree to make himself knowable to us. Thus, the end of heaven is called me, Mem Yud, or who in English, because we can ask the question to that realm, who are you? It is knowable to us. They began to weep, says Rabbeinu, and exclaimed, your face is shining. And I said, wisdom makes one's face to shine. Now that son Israel, which is the word, okay, remember that Israel is the word. This is why we are Or Lagayim, because we carry that illumination of the word of the 22 letters. Now that Israel, which is the word, the 22 letters which illuminate the mind and the thought, being mother and father, mind is father, thought is mother, and the son comes to illuminate mother and father. As it is written, Israel is a light to the nations. And so the word enters, and after illuminating the mind and thought, causing the mind to conceive the highest divine, and the thought to contemplate the highest roots, enters into those 70, being each of the forms. And this then is the blessing from above and below. It moves from the 70 ministers and enters the illumination of the 70 nations in the world, and the mind of existence becomes illuminated. And I've heard Rabbi Gozalan say something similar, that in Yemos HaMashiach, in the Geula, what the Mashiach will do is he will take the power away from the 70 Sarim. They will no longer be able to hook into reality once our mind is illuminated by the Mashiach. And the best thing that these letters do is that they illuminate our forms. They bring us out of the stranglehold that our emotions have on us. When our midot are rectified through clarity, through the letters, we have a clear view to the Ein Sof, to the Mochen. Let's do one more page, page 8. The friends asked, "Is this then the Messiah? Behold, the light of the world is the light of the endless, as it is written. He wraps himself in light. And what is this light? It is written, Vayar Elohim et haor ki tov. And Elohim saw et, the light, that it was good." What is this et, light? You guys know. Aleph through Taf. It was the 22 letters, Aleph through Taf. Et haor. And so it was called good. As it is written in relation to Moses, she saw that it was a good child, because when Moshe was born, he lit up his entire house. So that's a hint to Moshe Rabbeinu that he carried the light, and he's the only one that can bring it back right now, because he's bringing it back from the Ein Sof. He's retrieving that light that only he can bring back, but we can help him share it. That's our job. She saw that it was a good child. And so the light was this child. And the child emerged from the endless. Therefore, the light, or, is 207 in value, which is the same value as Ein Sof, 207. Because the light comes from the Ein Sof, the Or HaGanuz, the hidden light. The 22 letters. The child was Israel, as it is written. In the beginning, when Israel arose and thought. And so these 22 letters, which are this light, the child is called son, of which emerged from the endless in the secret of Yesh. And so it was made known to you, Israel is Yesh, Reish Lamed Aleph, the substance of 231. Because the Ein, when expanded into Aleph, Yud Nun equals in Gematria 231. Because the Ein expanded and entered. And so Mashiach, Messiah, is the secret of Yesh, Moach. Those are the letters of Mashiach, the substance of the brain, from Ein. Because Ein, when expanded, equals 231. And so does Yesh. Yesh Reish Lamed Aleph, Yisrael. Reish Lamed Aleph is 231. These are all interconnected gematrias that point to the Mashiach being the possessor of the light from Ein Sof. Mashiach, the substance of the brain, he will come to illuminate the substance of the brain of all. The friends became perplexed and asked, "So the Messiah will reveal the letters? Do we not know them already?" That's everybody's question. I replied, Though the mind and thought make use of these letters through words, they do not ascertain the roots of these letters. Do you not remember what was written? Shlach Lecha, verse 288. All these letters never rest. They stand out and sparkle externally, rise and descend. No one can understand anything about them except for the Messiah, and with great toil b'torach sagi. That name gets hidden after staying around for 2 hours and 22 minutes. 22. And that name, which is engraved in 72 letters, emerges. It stays suspended in the air for an hour and a half. All these names do not emerge and do not appear except once a day. But the letters of the alphabet are visible, flying in the air and combining letters with letters 3 times a day. And I know Ruthie is enamored with that. Ruthie loves to calculate what time of day, which 3-letter name of Hashem corresponds to, because it's a moving target. Assuredly, none knows anything about the letters except the Messiah, as the root of his light, the root of Mashiach's light, is the light of the Ein Sof, which surrounded and exceeded the limits of the mind and thought. Okay, it's outside the mind and thought, which is where we're constricted. So he comes to bring illumination to our constriction. Let's just finish off with one more page. It's getting good. They became perplexed and asked, isn't it written by our sages that the name of Mashiach preceded existence? If you know these things, then what is his name? I replied, Mamash Shemo YIRAH. Literally, Mamash, his name is YIRAH, your friend. These are the Rashi Tevos, the head letters of Mashiach, Mamash Shemo YIRAH. And it is he who will bring this knowledge, wisdom, and illumination into the world. They became agitated and said, how can you say such things? I replied, it is written, Reishis Chachma Yiras Hashem. And again, Yiras Hashem, Reishis Da'as. And so it is written. The spirit of Yud-Kei Vav-Kei shall rest upon him, the spirit of wisdom and understanding, the spirit of counsel and might, the spirit of knowledge and the fear of Yud-Kei Vav-Kei. And our sages said this refers to King Mashiach, Melech HaMashiach, who is the only one who will receive these 4 spirits. And yet, behold, Yirah is not mentioned as a ruach, as a spirit, but the one who receives the 4 spirits, which are the spirit of wisdom, Yud, understanding, Hey, knowledge, Vav, and counsel and might, Hey. They are received into Yirah, which are these 4. The agitation persisted, and they exclaimed, you say the beginning of wisdom is Yirah? Then where in the beginning is Yirah mentioned? And I replied, the beginning precisely. Voracious. As these letters are permutated, Shuv Yiras, the dwelling of Yirah. And I like to say the return of Yirah, Shuv Yiras, the return of Yirah. That's going to be a movie title one day. Shuv Yiras. And so he was dwelling, voracious, in the beginning with the Holy One. And it was explained to you that voracious was interpreted as base rosh, in the head. For this head was wisdom and the mind. And Yirah was dwelling within the divine mind of the endless. As it is written, Reishis Chachma, the beginning of Chachma. So certainly this was the mind. And this YIRAH is the illumination of the mind that emanated. Okay, let's end right here. And then if you guys remember, we learned Shir HaShirim together, the Zohar and Shir HaShirim. And I just want to read you from the inside where it says that pasuk. This is the Sulam edition. The Sulam edition, Shir HaShirim. Rabbi Rechumai Pasach. Rabbi Rechumai opened and said, V'nacha alav, and will rest upon him, Ruach Hashem, the spirit of Hashem, Ruach Chachma, the spirit of Chachma, Uvina, and understanding, Ruach Eitzah, the spirit of good counsel, Ugavura, and might, Ruach Da'as. And then it says, V'yiras Hashem. It doesn't say Ruach Yiras Hashem. Meaning all those four categories of different ruchot, different spirits, will be channeled into Yiras Hashem. Ha-ha-ha arba ruchos. These four spirits, Lo zacha bahem adam. Not a single man will merit them. Zulasi melech HaMashiach belvad. Only the Melech HaMashiach. Thank you, Hashem, for the merit of being able to read the writings of the Melech HaMashiach in real time as they're being written. For being able to watch his videos as they're being released. For being part of the effort, and all of you here with me were part of this effort to help share the light and spread the light of the Mashiach that will bring the illumination of the mind. Because the real pleasure coming for us is clarity of vision to allow us to see all the way up to the Ein Sof. And interact with the Ein Sof. It is said that Malchus will take the quantum leap all the way back up to Keter. And that the Malchus of one world becomes the Keter of the next. So I said to Ani yesterday, us here sitting in Malchus will become the Keter of the world of Mashiach. And Keter is just the clothing of the Ein Sof. It is the closest possible way for us to know and interface with the Ein Sof. And that's really why all eyes are on us. That's why there's ships in the sky waiting for this light. Because we, as the densest creation, who choose Hashem from a place of spiritual blindness and darkness, will be the ones to reveal the greatest light. For all the realms. They're waiting on us. They want the light too. Rose had mentioned to me that near where they live, is actually the greatest recording of spottings of craft in the sky. Can't make that up. Thank you so much for being here, you guys. May we see miracles today with the inauguration. May all timelines merge in the highest possible way. May we merit to see Hashem's fullest glory revealed in the Atika Kadisha timeline, where all of Kedusha is restored back from every creature to the side of Kedusha. Love you guys. What's today? I'll see you on Thursday. Mwah.